Hello and welcome to Google News Initiative's Asia Pacific Youth Verification Challenge for 2022. We're so happy to have you with us tonight for the third instalment of our Meet the Legends series. My name is Holly Knott and I'm here on behalf of Australian Associated Press, Australia's independent and objective newswire service, and your hosts for all the New Zealand and Australian events in this challenge. Before we get started tonight, I would just like to pay my respects to the Wadi Wadi people of the Darawal Nation, which is where I live and work. I extend my respects to the traditional custodians of all the lands represented on this call tonight and thank elders past, present and emerging. I also want to extend my respects to all the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who are joining us for this session tonight. Please let me introduce Esther Chan. Esther is a research fellow at the Centre for Media Transition at the University of Technology, Sydney. The centre partners with Information Futures Lab at Brown University to build on the legacy of media verification, journalism education and innovation pioneered by the non-profit First Draft, where Esther was the APAC Bureau Editor. In her current role, she provides editorial coverage of mis- and disinformation in this region, conducting editing and publishing in-depth research about information disorder. Esther started her career in television as an investigative reporter before moving on to digital journalism at Storyful, AFP FactCheck, and First Draft. She specialises in online news gathering, verification and fact-checking, and trains journalists and others to identify and deepen their understanding of the online disinformation landscape. So she certainly has a lot to share with you tonight, and I won't take up any more of her time. So let's not delay, and over to you, Esther.
Thanks, Holly. Hi, everyone. My name is Esther Chan. I'm the APAC Bureau Editor at Information Futures Lab, formerly First Draft. So before we begin today, I'd also like to pay my respects to the Gadigal people and their elders past and present. They are the traditional custodians of the land where I'm coming to you from. I would also like to introduce my colleagues here in Australia. Our team is led by our director, Anne Kruger, who's based in Brisbane, our deputy editor, Stevie Zhang, who is based in Melbourne. So the Information Futures Lab is actually a brand new initiative at Brown University in the US, which was launched in June by the former First Draft team. The lab builds on the legacy of First Draft, which for the past 6 years had been providing training, insights, and free materials for everybody to learn more about online verification, journalism best practices, and mis- and disinformation. Today, I have 2 examples for you. These are all real-life examples from our research on misinformation. And I'll break down the steps that were taken to verify each of them. There will also be 2 pop quizzes after each example, so make sure you pay attention throughout and take some notes if you like. And finally, we'll have some time for Q&A. So without further ado, let's begin. In this first example, we'll look at how to conduct visual verification. So in August last year, we found that there was a video circulating on multiple social platforms. And some of the captions said that the video shows oxygen being taken away from their parents. Some of them said it could be COVID or vaccine related. And other people said that the little girl in the video was being ripped away from her father and pinned down to be injected. And just to refresh your memory, in August last year, we were deep in vaccine rollout in the country, right? So understandably, there were a lot of people who were really concerned and had questions about the vaccine, which were really new. So they were really concerned about the side effects or possible adverse reactions. And you can imagine that seeing a video like this and captions like these could be really scary for a lot of people. So we found the video on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, among other platforms. And one thing to note is that it was not just posted by Australian accounts, but also several US and Canada-based Facebook pages. And I actually tried to find the earliest upload because you do want to establish who might be the uploader and potentially the filmer of the video. So one of the earliest version was actually posted on TikTok alongside some of the hashtags saying that don't touch our kids or leave our children alone. So here's a warning for you. We are going to look at the video together in a second, but if you tend to find this sort of thing triggering, then please look away for about 30 seconds until the next slide. And if you decide to just take a break, just to let you know that the video shows a young girl as she's screaming and kind of refusing to be separated from an adult male, and police are also on the scene. So let's take a look at the video. All right, so now that we know what the video appears to show, what are the steps that we could take to try to verify the claim? We can consider the 5 pillars of verification. So location, we would want to check whether the video was actually taken in Australia, as they say. Provenance, was it the original? Source, who took the video? Date, when was it taken? And finally, motivation. Does it really show vaccination being forced on a child? And if not, why was the claim being made? Let's think about the location. So if the incident really took place in Australia, where in the country would it be? At this point, we can try to do a frame-by-frame analysis to try to capture any recognizable logo, symbol, or insignia. So here we can actually see a logo on a name board on the left. So it's largely blue in the middle and green on the outer edge, which to me looks a lot like Victoria Police's logo. And if you're not familiar with, what the logos of various state police or territory police look like, it wouldn't take that long to just do a search on Google or other search engine to check them out and compare to this screenshot on the left. And once we've established that the video is likely taken at a police station in Victoria, we then want to narrow down to a specific police station in the state, right? So at this point, next slide, please. We can try to check out the distinctive interior design, if any, maybe special decor or architectural style. So these are all the things that can sometimes give us some hints on the exact location. In this frame on the left, you can see actually a police sign on the wall, right? And also on the reflective vest that the person is wearing. And then on the wall, you see these brown panels. They're not that special, but it's something that we can hold on to for now. So these panels actually look quite similar to those in the photo on the right, which I found on Google, and it shows a Victoria Police Station. So by now, we're actually pretty sure that the location is probably somewhere in Victoria, and we want to check whether the video shows what it's actually described to show, which is, does it show a child being taken away from their parent and to be forcibly vaccinated? In order to confirm this, don't forget to lean on your traditional journalism skills, which is, good old-fashioned picking up the phone, talking to people. It's often actually the fastest way, which is also the most straightforward way to get an official confirmation. And emailing also has its merits because you can then have the proof of the statement in black and white, which you may need later on for your news report. So in this case, we contacted Victoria Police on the 20th of August, and they confirmed that the video shows a family incident at Werribee Police Station in Victoria on the 14th, and that the incident is not related to COVID or vaccine, right? So with this information, we want to try to further confirm the location just to show that visually, we also can confirm that ourselves, apart from the statement from police. So we took a look at online images of Werribee Police Station and found this one on the right. And you can see it shows very similar brown panels as those seen in the video on the left. All right, so quiz time. Where was the video taken? A hint for you, it was filmed at a specific police station in Australia. And I'm not going to repeat which state it was. So if you know the answer, please feel free to leave it in the chat. It should be pretty straightforward. And in the meantime, I think we can move on to the second example. So this one shows imposter content. It's a term describing when social media users pretend to be someone else when they spread misinformation. And very often, this would be a case of people pretending to be authority figures in order to try to sound more convincing. Last month in July, Papua New Guinea held their general election. But before the election, when we looked at information and conversations online, there was lots and lots of misinformation. So these are actually real posters, just to show you. They're from the PNG Electoral Commission, which provided official information about the election for the public, right? But on the other hand, we found another image which was circulating online purporting to show polling dates in PNG. So you can see this table kind of listing all the dates. And they also credited the Electoral Commission. The question here is that, first of all, is that image really from the Electoral Commission? And second of all, the information included in it, with all the dates, were they also from the Electoral Commission? So we can't actually be sure until we do a keyword search. We need to try to locate the right keywords that would help us look into the digital footprint of the Electoral Commission, right? So by doing different keyword combination, we can find out whether the Electoral Commission published that particular image online. And if it wasn't originally from them, would it be that, sure, the image might be made by someone else, but then it features accurate information on polling dates from them, maybe? Second of all, we can try to conduct advanced searches, such as Boolean queries. So these are also really useful to try to lead us to the results that we want to verify this image. When in doubt, again, always check with official sources to confirm your doubts and the questions you have in mind. So what are Boolean queries? So Boolean is actually a very useful advanced search method that can get you the results you want, usually much faster than when you do individual keyword searches. Because the way it works is it's kind of like you giving an instruction to the search engine or social platform, telling them exactly what you need, right? So here are actually two examples that I used. So the first one, you are giving an instruction of you need two exact phrases from the search engine. And the first one is PNG Electoral Commission, and the second one is polling dates. So this would return results of the Electoral Commission's announcement or comments on polling dates, right? The second one consists of three groups. So three elements of things that I need from the search engine. So the first group is basically variations of how PNG is referring to, so including abbreviations and the full Papua New Guinea. And the second group is keywords about election, so voting, polling, etc. And the third one is actually just dates, because with this Boolean query, I'm looking for all results about polling dates in PNG. And just to note that Boolean queries would work perfectly on most search engines and also social platforms like Twitter. So that's really pretty handy. The first Boolean query actually led me to this Facebook post published by the verified account of the PNG Electoral Commission in June this year. And they were saying that that image is not from them. And you can see how they put a big fake sign on the image. And the next slide, we can see this is actually the official poster with all the information about polling date from the commission. So if you just look at them, judging them side by side, it's really hard to tell which image would be authentic and which one is not. But with keyword searches, that's how we found out in this case. So that's it for the debunk here. But just to say that the fight against misinformation doesn't stop at one piece of content or isolated example. And in fact, we really need to pay attention to how different examples are contributing to maybe a broader narrative. And to achieve that, we need to monitor online spaces consistently. And then journalists, academics, students, policymakers, we need to all work together to share information so that we can try to stop the spread of problematic information. And this is especially important before elections, because it's often a time when false or misleading claims, as well as rumors, tend to be abundant online. And to highlight that, just to show you another example that I found from PNG just in the past couple of months before the election. So this is, in my opinion, this is a particularly damaging one because it's a rumor published by a local newspaper in print and online before the election. And it says that there might be an illegal army planning to take over polling in the province of Hela, and the evidence being that they found boxes of army uniform being sent to the province. So the newspaper was a pretty popular one, and so they published this rumor in print, on their website and social media. So they would be reaching more than 100,000 Facebook followers at least, right? And the rumor was actually pretty quickly dismissed by the Prime Minister, saying that there was no illegal army being assembled in Hela, and it was all false claim. Even though it was dismissed pretty quickly, we still need to be careful with rumors like this, especially at times around elections, because they could add to heightened tensions already, before elections, usually when people get really agitated about this sort of thing. And if people believe in this, it could cause real harm, right? So we really want to try to stop them spreading on social media before it snowballs into something bigger. All right, so that's it for that example. And time for the second quiz. Can you name a type of advanced search? And the hint is that some advanced search queries act as instructions for search engines, and they can help you get to relevant results much faster. So if you know what it is, please feel free to leave your answer in the chat. All right, so that's quiz 2. And thank you so much, everyone, to join the challenge today. And if you want to learn more about misinformation, please check out our work at the Information Futures Labs website and social. And finally, if you have any questions, feel free to email me or drop me a line on Twitter. I'll be very happy to answer. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Esther, for sharing and unpacking some of your processes there. I think it's a lot of really helpful information for these young people as they embark on the challenge next month. So yeah, thank you again for sharing. And as the slide says, it's time it's your opportunity to fire any questions you have at Esther via me. So if you have a question for Esther, please pop it in the chat and I'll pass it on to her at the right moment, time permitting. But Esther, I'll get the ball rolling here tonight with a question for you around the online verification space, because it's something that is continually evolving. There's new tools and tricks, popping up every minute seemingly. So I'm interested if you could share how you stay on top of those developments that can be genuinely useful without being overwhelmed by the sheer number of tools that exist out there and that are being developed and added to the landscape frequently. So could you talk to that a little bit for our guests tonight?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Holly. I think that's a great question. I suppose think of it all as a fun exercise. Learning to use new tools available, it's actually pretty exciting because a lot of the tools are free, meaning you can just play around with it as much as possible. And just to remember that, sure, it may actually be part of your work, but digital investigation itself is a lot of fun. It's something I really enjoy doing myself. So I guess the trick is maybe spend a little bit of downtime exploring, trying out different tools and bookmarking the ones that look useful to you. And on top of that, remember, applying is actually the best way to make use of the tools. So instead of just trying to remember all of them, you would need to try to use it in practice, all the new tools and new approaches, so that you can then make a decision on, some of the tools may be more useful to you, that you find more intuitive, and other ones maybe a little bit buggy, then you can just kind of let them go. Because there's really no one size fits all when it comes to online investigation. So more often than not, there would be more than one way to verify or debunk, right? So, with the examples that I just showed you guys, that was just my way, like that one way to do it. But you could have many different ways to arrive to the same conclusion. So it doesn't really matter as long as you get to be able to verify or debunk. So just be creative, try different tools and methods, and have fun with it.
Oh, I'm sorry, Esther, I think we had a little bit of a delay there and hopefully we're back on track. But the final question, just keeping one eye on the time, we're running down the clock a little, but my final question to you is around just the experience of being a professional fact checker. Can you share with us what what you feel are, the main challenges of being a fact checker, or what you find to be the most challenging aspect of that work?
Yeah, I think a lot of fact checkers will probably agree with me that we always find ourselves running out of time. Never really run out of content to fact check because misinformation, half truths, rumors, they're everywhere in all corners of the internet. But there are only so many trained fact checkers working to tackle them, right? So you can see that we are totally outsized. So the scale of the issue of misinformation alone can sometimes feel really overwhelming. And for people who haven't tried fact checking, they may not realize that there is actually a lot of time required for the fact checking to be watertight, and also to go through various editings and then to publish it on the website. So it's a time-consuming process, and we want to be 100% accurate, and that's why the time is needed. But then I would say for fact checkers, there's really no need to rush. We want to be correct, and it doesn't matter even if we can't tackle it right then and then. So we want to pick our battle because there's so many different examples of problematic content out there. We want to focus on the most problematic ones that may cause real world harm, or also the claims that have had the most impact on maybe multiple platforms, right? Maybe it has like millions of views on YouTube, then that's something to pay attention to. So just to make sure that also to work with social platforms closely, because then you can communicate, and then they can take action in a more timely manner, So, once you identify something, then they can probably act on it. And that's kind of the perfect scenario that we want to see here.
So we have a question from one of the participants, Esther. Yasmin P would like to know your opinion on this. Do social media sites have any responsibility here to tackle misinformation promoted by their algorithms? She refers to noticing on TikTok that they seem to benefit from fake news as it gets view time. So interested to hear your thoughts on the question from Yasmin, please.
Thanks. I think a lot of platforms are actually very aware of the issue. And, if you look at Meta or Twitter, they are actually doing, they have various measures in place to try to at least slow the spread of some types of misinformation. And in other ways, in other examples, they would actually remove the content if it violates their policies. So I think they are aware of their responsibility here, to answer your question directly, and they are doing what they can to tackle misinformation. And it's actually also a really good thing that, for example, Meta is partnering with third-party fact checkers like AAP or AFP, because these fact checkers, they're trained and they would have the expertise to address disinformation, and also to show the audience the steps that are taken, right, to debunk or verify these, just like what we were doing earlier. So I think that's actually, for members of the public, that's probably the most important thing, to see journalists and fact checkers who are neutral and who are able to address these issues, without any sort of strings attached.
Thanks, Esther, for that. And I think we'll squeeze in one last question. This one's from Elena, and she'd like to know if First Draft or your new iteration is doing another internship program this semester.
That's actually something I haven't really heard about this semester. But Elena, I think we still have your email, and we'll get back to you if we are doing that. Thank you so much for your interest.
Okay, fantastic. Well, Esther, once again, thank you so much for sharing your skills and expertise and your insights for the benefit of our challenge participants tonight. We're very grateful to have someone with your level of experience and with your many different hats on as a trainer and an educator in this case. So all that remains for me to do is to remind the participants on this call tonight to make sure that you have registered your teams for the verification challenge itself, which happens next month, and keep an eye out for comms around that. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining us tonight. And we look forward to seeing you next Tuesday night, where you will, if you can join us for the final instalment of our speaker series, where we'll have Sushi Das from RMIT FactCheck rounding out the speakers. So thank you. And I look forward to seeing you all again next week, and stay safe. Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.